afternoon, starting from my right.
That's me, right?
That's you, right? Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, listeners.
Good afternoon.
I am Lorraine Patrick, the AY leader for the New Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist Church. And I hope you have a wonderful time this afternoon.
Wonderful.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone who is listening and viewing via the YouTube page. I am Assistant Island Coordinator Erwin Matherin here again, and I am hoping that we can have a fruitful discussion.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Justina Scotland and I'm the AY leader for the Bethesda Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I'm looking forward for our discussion.
Wonderful. Amen. So I'm surrounded by a lot of AY leaders. I'm excited. All right. Before we get into it, we just have a few notices that we just want to share with everyone this afternoon. Yesterday we had debate, guys. We had debate, and we had debate at the Jennings SDA Church, and we had the Villa Church going up against who? The Old Road SDA Church. And we would like to congratulate the Villa SDA Church for winning that semi-final round. Awesome. Congratulations, Villa. And we hope that you do well in the finals. And the finals will be at Senior Youth Week on the Saturday afternoon. Also, our Creation Grade Cricket Tournament. Matherin, defending champion Matherin SDA schools. Everybody's coming for SDA school.
Unfortunately.
How is the team spirit, Matherin? How is the team spirit getting ready for the tournament?
We started practicing a little bit late, but everyone is upbeat. Everyone is eager and anxious and ready to go. I hope that we are able to at least equal our performances last year. I think we achieved last year. We definitely did not set out to win. We didn't set out to lose though, but we're really trying to see if we can match the performances of last year and hopefully
defend the title.
Defend our
title. Miss Patrick, are you playing with anybody?
Yes, the New Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist.
The New Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist
Sorry,
school.
New Bethel. The news. Not me. Okay.
That might be prophetic. New Maranatha, a school might be in the making.
New Bethel.
New Bethel. Oh, wonderful. Yes. So tomorrow we have some awesome games, and we call it our Whit Monday Splash. At 1:00 we have the New Bethel SDA school coming against St. John's SDA Church. At 2:00 we have New Bethel seniors coming up against Jennings, and at 3 we have New Winchops SDA coming up against Steps to Christ. And I know Miss Scotland's going to like this one. At 4:00. And look how they're sitting down there, Patrick. The SDA school versus the Bethel SDA. What?
It begins now.
What a match that will be. And at 5:00 we have Second Advent Radio going up against John New. So we're inviting everybody. It's a family affair. Come on out. We begin at 1:00 at the Dredgers playing field. Just under the hospital, Judges playing field. So come on out as we have some clean Christian fun as we enjoy ourselves in our Creation Grade 2023. Senior Youth Week. What date is Senior Youth Week, everybody? June 29 to July 9th. And that is Senior Youth Week. And this year we're looking to be at the Seaview Farm playing field. That year we're trying to move the location about because we want this year to be a more community impact outreach than anything else. So we're looking to be at the Seaview Farm playing field. Promotions, everything else will be coming up in the upcoming weeks as we move forward with that program. Guys, give out some shout outs if you have any shout outs. Madeline, do you have anybody you want to give a shout out as we get into the program this afternoon?
Not so much. Well, I don't know if to call it a shout out, but I just want to congratulate these 6 persons from my church who would have made that all-important decision of giving their life to Christ. There were 6 persons. We're moving into the last week of the crusade, and I hope that more persons would.
Any youths? Any youths was baptized?
Yes, one.
Okay, one.
Awesome. So it was so far it's been a good experience, and I hope that more persons will come and hear the word of God and give their life.
So this is the final week. So give us the time and the place for persons who are listening.
Okay, so the crusade is held at the New Maranatha Seventh-day Adventist Church grounds in Belmont. We start at 7 p.m. nightly, and hopefully we're done by at least 9:00. So you get some good night rest still and can go home and prepare for the next day. But so far, Evangelist Elder Charles
Wonderful.
is doing a wonderful job, and I hope that more souls would be won for Christ.
Awesome. Miss Patrick, anybody want to give a shout out to?
I was gonna do that, but he already did. So, yeah.
Alright.
No.
Nobody else. Okay, wonderful. Miss Scotland, anybody want to give a shout out to?
I would like to give a shout out to my mom who's listening at home.
Oh, mommy. Hi, mommy.
My church family
Yes.
and my pastor and his family.
And your
Awesome,
pastor. Who's your pastor?
Pastor Joseph, Winston Joseph.
Pastor
Okay.
Winston Joseph. And we know how that might look by the next couple of weeks. But
Mercy.
yeah, mercy. But it's an awesome opportunity to be here. I just want to shout out again all my AY leaders. I have 3 AY leaders, 3 powerful AY leaders with me this afternoon. And this afternoon, we're going to discuss the role of the youth in the church. And we're going to break it down into 3 segments as we look at what is our role? Where are we supposed to be? Are we fulfilling our role? Are we meeting our goal as young people? What are we doing? And that's what we're going to be discussing this afternoon. Feel free to call in at any time as we think. We're going to take a short break, a 2-minute break, and then we're going to come back as we discuss this topic again. Remember, the topic is the role of the youth in the church. So just before we go to the break, tell me, what are your roles in the church? Any positions? What is your role currently in the church? I know we said AY leaders. Is there any other position that you have? Miss Scotland, tell me.
Yes, I am the AY leader.
AY leader,
I am a superintendent.
Sabbath school?
Yes.
Okay.
And also I am the assistant music coordinator.
Okay, nice. I can knock a tune. Okay. So we know what to do next time. All right, so that's 3 positions. I'm directly asking it. So Scotland 3. Miss Patrick, go ahead.
AY leader,
AY leader.
chorister,
Mm-hmm.
assistant church clerk,
Mhm.
and class teacher.
Class-
Sabbath school class.
Sabbath
teacher.
school class. So that's
But
4.
children's division. Children's division.
And children, that's 5.
No, for the children's division.
Oh, for the
Right,
children
so it's just
division.
4.
Okay, so it's 4. Martin?
I am the head treasurer.
What?
I am the assistant, one of the technical assistants for the PA system,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it. They have, well, I think it is yet to be seen because our junior youth ministry is still in a revamping state, and as long as we get that sorted, I would be from the previous board decision, I would be reinstated as deputy director for the Pathfinder Club.
Wow, okay.
But as that stand, that is on hold.
Mhm.
But so we just go with the 2 for now.
Okay, wonderful. And how have you tied in your position with your personal life? Has it been difficult? Has it been simple? Has it been affecting your personal life? How have you tied in your positions? I see Miss Scotland have 3 positions, Miss Patrick have 4, Martin have 2. But that one, which is the treasure of the church, holds a large amount of power when it comes to that. So how have you balanced your life, and also anybody can take a hit at that, and also your positions at church?
It's not always the easiest. Take a crack at it first.
Mhm.
As the treasurer, sometimes the amount of run up and down I have to do, that oftentimes it's not said. You know, when you hold the purse, sometimes, the board just say, okay, this will happen. And, it's just assumed that it needs to be done. And
Needs to be
then
done.
no one sometimes puts their hand up to get it done. So as a treasurer, sometimes you just have to, make the extra runs,
Mhm.
burn the extra gas, and just try to get.
Don't worry,
God's
when your
work
gas
going.
light is on empty, God will fill it.
Well, I've not seen it on empty very often, so that means God is keeping it
Amen.
full. So
Amen.
Yes.
but I know it can be quite challenging, especially with the added responsibility of being an assistant island coordinator. Sometimes you're up and down and move about and stuff like that. It can consume quite a bit of your time, and to balance work, church, and personal time can be a little bit.
Can be a bit
taxing.
hard. So, but for now, you think that you have it under control?
I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no, but my head is
Man-
afloat for sure.
And when the wife come, that would be another
Lord have mercy.
another challenge. And yeah, Miss Patrick, what about you?
It's not bad. Youth ministry has its own
Oh,
challenges,
yes.
separate and apart from everybody else, because you're dealing with young people, And then coming out of COVID, not to blame it, not saying that I'm using it as a crutch, but coming out of COVID where young people don't necessarily want to come back to church.
And interested in anything.
And interested in being a part of afternoon. And then still trying to ensure that everybody recognizes that AY is a part of the day service. It's not just the morning service.
Correct.
You know, all of these things factor in. You have to plan and plan effectively. You don't just get up and throw a program together because you think it can, you know, it would appease the people. You have to think about who you're planning for. How many people are coming back. And that's why when you had the meeting earlier in the year to deal with like the statistics of the amount of people that are coming back and things like that, that's relevant. That's important information that you need. And it can be challenging. I mean, well, I'm married. I have a child, so that's a whole other ball game. And then you have board meetings, and then you have this report, and you have this to do, and you have to make plans for this. And especially if it's a big thing like Carnival weekend is coming up, you have to try and plan a camp, and the work that goes into something like that. And sometimes the work is left on you. Sometimes not all the time. Yeah. And especially if you don't have a supportive team. I cannot say that I do not have a supportive team, but I know out there that there may be churches.
And I can testify that fact too.
Right, that they may not have that set of people that will come and rally behind them. Like, okay, what do you need? You're the head, but, you know, we have, you know. So it can be challenging, but I try to find the positive side to look on it. Does it get overwhelming? Sometimes, of course, but it's how you deal with it that tells you whether or not, you know, you should move forward.
And we're gonna get a little bit deeper in that also. Miss Scotland, what about you? How have you balanced the both? You have 3 positions at church.
Yes, it can be a bit challenging and a bit overwhelming at time when you have to plan a program for superintendent and still plan a program for AOI. And sometimes my brain gets a bit foggy. And I am, especially with my superintendent report and so on, I would just think of a text and then I build my program off of the text. I pray before, because sometimes it's like dealing with work, my home, and then, you know, having to plan AOI meeting, making sure we have AOI on time.
Sabbath sometime.
You know, when you have board meeting, you have to, what are the plans for AOI? So sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, but, you know, you just have to relax and reset and pray and go on it again.
You know, I always say sometimes I believe AY is one of the I won't say most difficult, but more taxing ministry in the church, because we have to plan a program every Saturday. I remember when I was AY leader, church you finish like about 1 o'clock. You go home, you eat. As soon as you thought time for AY, you put on your clothes. You say, you're dreadful to go, but you know you have to go back. You have to do it for the youth. And then something when you go, you plan this nice program. When you look in the church, you have 3 persons in the church. You say 7, you count high. 3 persons in the church, and so they discourage you. But as we get deeper into our roles and how we function as young people, we're gonna get some encouragement to our other young persons who have position. So we're gonna take a break at this time, a quick break, a 2-minute break, and then we're gonna get back and dive right into this topic.
Okay.
Our students pursue only excellence.
Looking for a cool, serene, Christ-centered learning environment for your child? The New Bethel Academy is the place for you. We offer a holistic approach in all subject areas, extracurricular activities, and so much more. We are always accepting new students. Visit us in Liberta St. Paul on the same grounds as the New Bethel SDA Church, or call us at 460-1086. Don't delay. Come in today. Here we follow Jesus, the Master Teacher.
Crime affects all of us, the whole community, whether you're a direct victim or not. We can all help fight crime by sharing the information we have on criminal activity, even if you're not sure that the information you have will be helpful. The Crime Stoppers Hotline is a safe place where you can anonymously report crimes, criminal activity, and give tips. Crime Stoppers will never record your name or any personal information. The call center is located internationally, so there's never a chance of the operator recognizing your voice. Call 800-8477 if you see anything or if you know anything. Remember, we don't need to know who you are for you to tell us what you know.
Who are Seventh-day Adventists? Well, we are a Christian denomination that observes the 7th day of the week, Saturday, as the Sabbath. On this day, we take time off from the cares of life to spend time with God. As Adventists, we devote ourselves to Christ-like living.
Adventists cater to the needs of others. We seek to point others to Jesus, who alone can provide freedom, healing, and hope. With over 21 million members worldwide, our doors are always open to anyone who wishes to worship in one of our more than 151,000 congregations.
So, the next time you will see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, we would like to help you to become ambassadors of God's kingdom and messengers of His soon coming.
Do you have any burning questions? Do you want your voice to be heard? It's time to speak up. The Island Youth Department presents Speak Up, a radio program for the youth. Join us every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we discuss stimulating topics, engaging interviews, and powerful songs of praise. It's going to be dynamic, informative, and interactive. Join us on Second Advent Radio at 101.5 FM, on YouTube at Second Advent Radio, and on Facebook Live. You can't afford to miss it. It's time to speak up.
All right, and welcome back. Welcome back to Youth Speak Up radio program. Remember, we have open lines, so you can call at any time. Call 562-1015, 562-1015, or you can send your WhatsApp at 786-1015, 786-1015, or call 562-1015. As we discuss roles or role as young people in the church, as young persons in the church. Now, I'm going to go to this question. Now, sometimes as leaders, sometimes what is the trust level? Do you think that you have the full trust level of your church? Meaning, I'm the AY leader, I bring a program. Do they dissect it all the way, or do they trust that, Laurie is going to bring a good program, a spirit-filled program? Do they allow you to execute that program freely? Or is it more you feel like they're still in the whole handle over it? Or you have a bit of handle over the program? Or your committee, your AY committee, on it? What do you say on that, Larry?
Okay. Yeah. I think that, I guess it's dependent again, as I said before, on the people that you're working with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We tend to think that when we're doing this thing, it's just about me. It's not. It's never about one person. It's about us working together. All the committees in the church, all the departments in the church, whether it's treasury, community services, whatever it is, all of us work together for the harmonious development of, right? So I think that we're entrusted, and I say we because it's, again, you'd make your plans with your team, right?
Correct.
That we are entrusted or allowed to plan programs effectively for the benefit of the membership.
So let me ask you a question, because I like to be real. Yes, plan this spontaneous program. We're going at the end of a cliff. No, not at the end of a cliff. No. We are going Shirley's Heights, right? It's out of the norm, but the young people are interested in it. Is it something that you can sell? Is it something that we'll be able to sell to the church, that they say, okay, let's put this trust in our young people that they're gonna make sure that everything is in place? Or is it that they're going to say, no, this is not the place that we normally go, we're not allowing you to, even though you're the head AY leader?
Yeah, well, I've never really had any major pushback when it comes on to out of the norm programs. Like the other day we had overnight camp at church. And they were concerned. The only thing that they were really concerned about was safety, because we didn't have, which is understandable.
Yes, it is, yeah.
And we had a lot of children from the community come, sleep over the one night and so on, and that was during the Easter program. And it was good. We didn't have any doubt in anybody's minds. They came by the Saturday night and saw us. We set up, some of them helped us to do what we needed to do, brought food and lunch for the next day. And we've had church outdoor for the entire day. We decided as the AY department, we wanted to go. We went by Tilagro. It was some time ago. Tilagro farm. It's by a pond in TV. Right. And we had we had church outdoors for the entire day.
Okay.
It wasn't the norm. It's not something that everybody's used to. Or, well, I say everybody or church is used to, but they were quite open to it and they enjoyed it.
Okay, wonderful.
So I find that they're open to some things. I guess the question is therefore, how do you maybe it's bad to place it like, but how do you sell your ideas to your church? Right? Because a lot of the times, maybe I'm not saying that this is so, but a lot of the times young people say, "Oh, we're going to go out for church, but where is it planned
What is the plan?
appropriately?
Correct.
Is it put in place?
Are
Do you have all your bases covered? Is
insured,
insurance in
correct.
place? Things like that. So to ensure that all your bases are covered and there are no questions, quote unquote, to be asked. Not that questions are bad. Sometimes the questions are asked so you can be on the safe side.
Can help us too.
And I can help you to grow and become a better leader, right? But I've not really had any major pushback. Maybe they've had 1 or 2 questions, but it's always something that has always worked out in our favor.
I see planning coming out there.
Right.
Planning. We have to, because we sometimes as youth leaders, we just get up and say we're going there. But when they ask certain questions, we can answer it. We have to be able to answer every question as it comes to us in that aspect. So that is a very, very, and I'm happy to hear that your church supports. Who's your pastor? Pastor Challenger. I want to big up Pastor Challenger. Just asking to continue.
We'll be changing. So.
Not officially yet.
Yes.
But we get in there.
Yes.
Pastor Challenger. So I just want to commend him for supporting and grinding the church. I'm telling you, some AY leaders have it hard when it comes to that aspect. Miss Scotland, talk to me. How is it when your programs, are you flexible with it? Do your church have to ask a lot of questions? Do you have your planning in place? How is it when you're as a leader, as the AY leader?
As an AY leader, when, there's always going to be that one person who's going to be negative.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have it very smooth.
Okay.
When I go to the church board, I make sure I plan. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
Make sure you plan,
Yep.
the questions that they're going to ask.
Yes.
You make sure you think about safety, think about transportation, everything in order. So when I have my ideas, I make sure everything is together. I run it with my committee before. I speak to pastor, run it with my committee, then I bring it to the board. So when I bring it to the board, I can answer every question. It's never like you're going this, that. Is not like a commanding or like they're down on me. They just want to know that they're happy that the youths are doing something. But it's just always that one person that will be negative. But when you surpass that, it is good.
It is good. Wonderful. Matrin, treasurers. You're the big boss when it comes to the finance of the church. If you say as a young person, board, I don't believe we should invest in this because this is not wise. Does your voice count? As even though you're the treasurer, as a youth, does your voice count?
Whoa,
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Because sometimes they just give us the books to hold, but they're still controlling it, even though we're youth. So I'm asking, does your voice? Because if they give you a treasuring job, that means they have to think that you have some kind of ability and capabilities of managing the church when it comes financially. So are your voice heard when it comes to the treasuring department as a treasurer leader?
I would say generally yes. The committees and the board members are in favor. I think sometimes even for certain decisions that persons are even hesitant in making an informed decision without having certain comments from the treasurer or guidance from the treasurer, which I appreciate. But there have been a few instances where you only carry one vote as the treasurer. And notwithstanding that, you would have given the best guidelines that you can, but if the church or the board members think that, we can recoup another way, we can resuscitate the money or the accounts another way and these sorts of things, or we can ask certain persons, and they generally would support, but there are those times when, it's just one vote you got.
One vote.
if you're short. But I sit on all of the by virtue of being the treasurer, the fortunate or unfortunate thing is that I sit on every committee pretty much. I'm a part of FXC, whether or not I'm there in person or not. Every committee comes to me, hey, we want to know how much we have left, what is this? So generally when I give the advice, they would listen, we would try to see how we make things work. We have our little hiccups, but I think so far it has been okay enough sailing, and I don't well, I hope that it doesn't get get worse, but I just hope that it can get better and we can build on it from a church perspective.
All right, before we move on to the second segment, I'm a young person. I have a position in church. Okay, let's say AY leader, and I'm looking to give up because I don't have any support. Don't have any support from the board. Don't have any support from anybody. And when it's time for church, nobody is there. We have something on the WhatsApp board. It say, could you please repeat what was said about the cricket tomorrow? Sister Patrick, we need some more outdoor programs. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. I think that's one of your members there, Sister Patrick. We need some more outdoor programs.
They could WhatsApp me. Let's talk. Let's talk, okay?
All right, yeah. So what is your encouragement to that youth? Yeah, I'm an AY leader. I don't have the support of the church. I don't have the support of the board. Don't have the support of my executive. But I want to continue trying to have AY. What is your advice to that youth before we move on to the segment 2?
I'm never a fan of just quitting
because
it doesn't bode well for a resilient mindset or anything to that effect. So life isn't easy, life isn't fair, you're not going to have it all your way. So I can never initially out of the blocks jump out and say, you know what, then support you, give up, get your hands off of that. And I mean, I've had some really rough times as a treasurer, and this is 8 years in.
What?
So it's been a long ride. But I will say that if you're having things a little bit difficult, one of the I don't know if to call it a cheat code that I've found is to speak to persons before the meeting. Meaning, there is something that comes up on the agenda and I'm not familiar with it. I'm not au fait with it. I don't have enough information on it. And let's just say, for argument's sake, it falls under the clerk's responsibility or the AY leader's responsibility. I'll call them up and say, hey, look, I don't understand what's happening here. Explain to me. So when I go to the meeting and I'm asked the question, I can speak intelligently from a place of information I'm
purpose
as to what is going on. But when I'm in the blind, just there and I don't know what's happening, and then I'm asked to make a decision on the spur of the moment, it really it takes away from the effectiveness. So if you don't have the support, what I would recommend, speak to persons before. So if you have a plan and you just get some static from the first LFI, everything, just go and ask him, sir, what do you think about so? Not because maybe you so much need
but make him put the input,
but allow them to feel a part of the process.
Correct.
So that by the time you get to the board meeting, you could even use their words technically against them as a point of pulling them along with you. So now they're in a position where they have to say, you know what, it makes sense. I already gave my commitment to this. How can I help this young person build on what they're planning? So for me, try to speak to persons before, and not just from your church, because you have administrators even at the conference. And at the beginning I had some challenges. I didn't understand certain things, and I would come here and ask, Dr. Moore, what's her thought on this, and how should this XYZ be done? And she'd tell me, and then I'd go back and implement and try to do the best that I can, because I don't know everything, you don't know everything.
True.
So the more resource persons you have on your side,
the better for you,
and the easier it makes the workload feel, and it reduces the pushback. I
like the first point you give when it comes to the board aspect. It's called politicking. It's true. You got to be smart at it. So I go to Martin and say, Martin, I think you're doing an outreach program and we're looking to go there. What do you think? Oh, you probably can do that. I said, thank you. I go to Scotland. I say, hey, I have an outreach program. She said, oh, I think you can. All the ideas going in the program now, you still tailor it to how you want it. When you reach on board, you read it out and they hear, but I give the idea. There's no way they can vote against it. Because they're done putting the ideas.
It makes it a whole lot more difficult.
It makes it a whole lot difficult. Because I can say, well, Matthew, we spoke about this and you said it was a good program. You understand? We're there. It's a good program. We spoke about it. What's the problem? So that's one step. But give me another step, Miss Patrick.
Think about what the purpose. Okay, think about why you're doing the program. What's the purpose of the program? Is it to entertain? Is it to just get up and do something? Is it because you haven't done something like that in a long time? You understand? There must be something behind it. You, as a leader, whichever department you're in, planning is
important.
Very
and I think that's what
important.
take up the time. That's why I asked the question at the beginning when it comes to your family life, your other life and plan, because if we have to do a good AY program and we finish Sabbath, we have to start planning by this Sunday again for the next AY program.
Or you could plan for the quarter.
But you still have to put it in place.
Yes,
Even
but
though you
if-
have
that's
nature
what I-
program, you have outreach, you have Martin coming and speak on finance, etc.
Right.
You still have to go each week. You still have to make sure that you have
Make a
everything in
refresher.
place. Call persons for the different parts, etc.
Again,
so it still takes time.
It's not one person, it's a team.
That's that.
It's
But
a
remember
team.
my question.
Yes.
I don't have a team as
Listen,
my support.
Listen, but that's the thing. There's no department that should be operating as a single person.
Well, it's
So
happening.
if it is happening, it needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When biblical example, when Moses was leading Israel, he was overwhelmed.
Yes.
He was overwhelmed. He
Yes.
was tired. He was burdened. He was trying to start out this thing with this
And
group of people and this thing.
all over.
And the Lord impressed upon who? Jethro, to go to him and say, "No, man, but Moses,
Can't
what are you
do all that.
doing?
Can't do all that
Like,
yourself, yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah,
Burnout
you
is
burn out.
real.
Yep, it
We're
is.
young people."
Yep, we can get burned out too.
But as
Quicker.
I'm saying,
Quicker.
I'm just saying because they always say youth is on your side, right? Until it's not.
Yeah, man, yeah.
Right? And
this
Jethro
year
went.
We come off the calendar this year now, so you know that's going to rest. Martin, you off already?
Yes.
No.
Mercy, wait, it's true.
In the
Anyway,
afternoon, come in
sidebar. Soon.
Yeah.
Soon, we'll throw a
yeah.
party. Miss Scotland, you off the calendar yet? No, not yet. But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And he went
yeah,
and he
yeah.
said, "Look, you need to sort this thing out, or else you're gonna die, basically." And what happened? They delegated.
Yeah.
They said, "Okay, find a certain amount of men and let them manage this, 50s and 100s or this amount of people, and you in charge of that thing." And we can't do it by ourselves.
yeah.
And if it is that you're operating from it's just me alone, you need to find people. And if it is, by the
Pause
way,
one sec, definitely we have a caller on the line.
Oh,
yes,
yes.
caller, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Zach, and good afternoon to the panel.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
No, you put forward a scenario there that is rather troubling at every level. No, you're saying that the church board and the church is not supporting you, not even those who are in your department is supporting you.
Correct.
Well, that person, based on the scenario, person is then not supporting. The first thing I would want to do is look at myself, because if nobody's supporting me, then I have to find out why. So if you have person that's supposed to be working with that individual, and they're not supporting, and the church board is not supporting, and other folks are not supporting, you really have to look at yourself, because that is a very strange thing to happen, that you're getting no support from the members of the church. And so you really have to look internally to find out what is the problem.
Definitely.
You can't forge ahead without finding out what's that challenge. Why is it that the members, my own committee, is not showing support? So is there something wrong with everybody else, or is there something wrong with that individual? What's the challenge? Is it a leadership style? Is the fact that they don't communicate? What is the problem really?
But you see, the fact that
and if
you were
you can't
selected.
find that out, if you're not going to deal with that, then you're not going to make it. Because as a leader, you need support. And without that support,
correct,
how are you going to actually affect any kind of change? Because the whole purpose of youth ministry is to create leaders for the church, and we expect folks in the youth ministry to be growing spiritually. So then there is a problem, and you have to start looking, the individual needs to start looking at themselves and to find out, where am I going wrong? What is it that the challenge why persons are not working with me? And you may even have to approach the same person that are not working with you, find out where am I going on? What's the problem why folks are not working with me? So you really have to do some introspection in a case like that. And maybe you may even have to relinquish that position
That's what I was gonna
because
say.
of the lack of support. Because person may not see you as a person who can carry that particular position or leadership. You can't go it alone. It's one or the other. You just cannot go it alone. So if the leader is the problem, maybe I have to step down and somebody may have to take over. But if you're going to hold on and not wanting to move, if the person going to hold on not want to move and everything stagnates, then there's some sort of selfishness going on there. Because if I can't move the people, if I can't get support, then I have to just step aside and let somebody take that reign who can actually move the program forward.
Fair.
I'll listen to the comments.
All right, thank you.
All right, good point. Well, you see, my thing is, if you were chosen, somebody must have thought that you could do this thing.
Yeah.
Right? So, and it's true. I think that's Brother Henry. Right. So like him.
Yeah.
And that's a true statement.
Yep.
You have to do some form of introspection, right? But if you were chosen, somebody must have thought that you could do this thing.
That's
right?
true.
But the teamwork.
I want to piggyback on something that he said with relation to leadership style. Sometimes,
our leadership, correct.
As young persons, we can, how should I say this? We channel our youthful exuberance in probably maybe a tad bit of an arrogant way. And then it turns people off, and then it makes your life a little bit harder than it should.
That's true.
So, as a young person, you should be open-minded, and you should remember that the ceiling is far above you, so there's a lot of way to grow. So sometimes you have to take on board the criticism, constructive and negative.
And you can still learn from them. Correct.
Some adjustments in your approach to things.
Our training last week when we had AY training, when we was looking at the different years, there's a lot to learn, the baby boomers and so that. And sometimes as young person, we don't want to hear from nobody. I know what to do. I know how it to go. I don't want to hear from nobody else. For your time done gone. Me the leader now, so me know what to do. And then we lose focus and sight, and you see people that start drawing back because you know what to do. Go ahead, do what you do, and then you see yourself lonely now. And then when you're trying to get back that help now,
the
it's not there.
relationship is already
correct.
broken.
It's already broken.
But it goes to, maybe this is touching on another topic, but it goes to training as well.
Training.
Personally, I do not think that people should just be thrown into positions, especially if they don't have any form of expertise in that area and don't have training. I'm not saying that you don't have people who are willing and open to learn, but that is something that I believe personally that as a church we need to do better on
the training aspect,
right?
Yeah.
You tend to have deacons who are of senior age, right? But the deaconry of the church is something that can be
youthful.
It's something that is important to all of us. Deacons or deaconesses, you understand? Okay. The eldership of the church, you tend to have people who are more.
You're gone on my segment too.
Sorry. You see that too. I was just talking about the training.
You're gone on my segment too.
I understand that it's not everything that you can open the door for everybody. But if it is that you want people to take over after you are gone, you must have somebody behind you. Have the relationship with the people. Let them know that this is what happens. Okay, fine. You may not know how to do it, but liaise with somebody,
They say if you're a leader and after you finish lead, there's nobody that can take up a position, you failed as a leader.
Mercy.
You failed as a leader. So myself as island coordinator, when I finish 1 year from now, 1 year from now, there should be at least 5 or 6 persons that any pastor can pick from to be the island coordinator. If I haven't have that, then I've failed as a leader. Miss Scotland, any last thing before we go to another break? We have make sure you have information. We say make sure you plan properly. We say we look within yourself. Introspection. And what else can we do? What else can that person do? I have another one also. We can liaison.
I was just going to say that collab.
Go ahead. Wonderful.
I think we at least have to have one person. As I said, we were picked. So at least one person is thinking that we can do the position. So I think we should liaison with different AYs. If you're not getting the support from your church, you speak to the pastor, try to join with some other church in the district and, just advertise. And I love what you said. matching with what do you call it, chicken. Yes, before the meeting, you have a plan. You call a sister and how they sound. You go about that. But collabing is very good, especially when you don't have as much youth, as much person coming back to AY, joining together at least 2 Sabbaths, and then after a while, they will come and stay.
That is a very strong tool that I don't think our AY departments are using effectively. I can remember when I was AY leader, myself, Oren, a young lady named Sherry, and her son Bridges. When we plan in the year, we plan our calendars together. We never plan separate, together, and all our programs intertwine with each other. For a whole 2 years, we did. No more than 2 years, about 4 years, we did that. And AY was so free. No stress free, because this week is Oren planning. Next week is Sherian. Next week is Sean. Next week is Pastor Sean. Next week is me. You understand? And that's a tool that we need to use more often. Don't think that you're on your own. I mean, Maranatha, I only have 5 people coming. I'm on my own. No, call Scotland. Hey, what you all doing today? I'm coming up to Bethesda. Have a joint program. Scotland come back down by you. And also it helps with as I say, we can get very tired planning every Sabbath. We can get burned out planning every Sabbath. And I always tell my AY leaders that when you're AY leader and you have to plan a program every Sabbath, you can't get burned out. So it's important that you when island programs, you say amen. When other AYs, you say amen, and you will work together on that aspect. So we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to get into the hotness of the topic as we move forward into segment 2 of this topic. So we're going to take a quick break. Remember, you can call 562-1015, 562-1015, or you can WhatsApp 786-1015.
Did you hear?
Hear what?
The Acapella Zone is making a comeback.
A comeback? Where? When?
On Second Advent Radio 101.5 FM every Saturday night from 7 to 8 p.m. So join Acapella Zone with Jernell Williams, bringing you good gospel acapella music from A to Z. Join Dr. Andrew Gardner every Sunday from 6 to 6:50 p.m. for Your Health and You, an informative and thought-provoking health session to meet your every health need on the radio of choice, Second Advent Radio 101.5 FM.
Good day to all my friends, locally, regionally, and internationally. Sunday, October 23rd, beginning from 9 a.m. to 12 midday, is the return of Singspirational Sunday right here on Second Advent Radio 101.5 FM. You can't afford to miss it. So tell a friend that Singspirational Sunday is back.
Seventh-day Adventists? Well, we are a Christian denomination that observes the 7th day of the week, Saturday, as the Sabbath. On this day, we take time off from the cares of life to spend time with God. As Adventists, we devote ourselves to Christ-like living.
Adventists cater to the needs of others. We seek to point others to Jesus, who alone can provide freedom, healing, and hope. With over 21 million members worldwide, our doors are always open to anyone who wishes to worship in one of our more than 151,000 congregations.
So, the next time you see a Seventh-day Adventist, remember, we would like to help you to become ambassadors of God's kingdom and messengers of His soon coming.
Hi there, I am Monica Fleming.
And I am Delma Cameron.
Join us Monday through Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Second Advent Radio 101.5 FM.
You can also join us live on our Second Advent Radio and SLC Adventist YouTube channels. Share the good news with your family and friends. And come, let's celebrate together.
Neighbor, It's me, Beatrice. I'm here with my good policeman friend, Corporal Chewit. Tell them what you said about a neighborhood watch.
Statistics show that Crime Watch programs curb crime significantly, so having a neighborhood watch is one of the best things we can do to protect our communities from crime.
Well, I watch my neighbor every day.
Yes, we heard.
Aye. But what could somebody do if they wanted to start a neighborhood watch program?
Contact the Community Policing Unit of the Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda for any information you need. The police can't prevent all crimes by themselves. We need your help.
Let's work together to keep our communities safe. This is a message from Crime Stoppers Antigua and Barbuda and North Coast Hardware.
Financial Perspectives. Tune in to Second Advent Radio on Mondays, commencing 6 September 2021 from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and give a listening ear to the inspiring, invigorating, thought-provoking, and empowering discussions hosted by fellow Rachel Knowles and other professionals. So, housewives, teachers, preachers, plumbers, beauticians, electricians, musicians, and all other professionals, remember the time, Mondays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with a repeat broadcast from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Crime affects all of us, the whole community, whether you're a direct victim or not. We can all help fight crime by sharing the information we have on criminal activity, even if you're not sure that the information you have will be helpful. The Crime Stoppers Hotline is a safe place where you can anonymously report crimes, criminal activity, and give tips. Crime Stoppers will never record your name or any personal information. The call center is located internationally, so there's never a chance of the operator recognizing your voice. Call 800-8477. If you see anything or if you know anything, remember, we don't need to know who you are for you to tell us what you know.
Do you have any burning questions? Do you want your voice to be heard? It's time to speak up. The Island Youth Department presents Speak Up, a radio program for the youth. Join us every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we discuss stimulating topics, engaging interviews, and powerful songs of praise. It's going to be dynamic, informative, and interactive. Join us on Second Advent Radio at 101.5 FM, on YouTube at Second Advent Radio, and on Facebook Live. You can't afford to miss it. It's time to speak up.
All right, and welcome back. Welcome back to Youth Speak Up radio program. Just before we continue, we're going to read a quick disclaimer.
Yes, we just want everyone listening to know that the opinions expressed on the program are solely the opinions of the host or their guest and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Second Advent Radio, its parent organization, or affiliates.
All right, and remember, if you want to call, you can call 562-1015, 562-1015, or WhatsApp 786-1015. All right, so we know our church is well organized. That's one thing we can't take away from a church. It's well organized. It has all its layers, etc. We're gonna be discussing a bit now on leadership. How does our church, and we are discussing this because our program is Speak Up, and we just want to bring some awareness of where we are as young persons, what do we think, etc. moving forward. We're not saying that we're just trying to bring some clarity to it. So my question is, and I want us to think before I ask the question. Think in your mind of any youth elder. And when we're talking now, we're talking between 16 and 35. So I'm going to deal with the eldership first of the church. And, every time I go to any program, I hear the youths are the one to finish the gospel. The youths are the one to push the church forward. The youths are the one, the youths are the one, the youths are the one, the youths are the one. I always hear that. And I know you said training is important, which it is, right? But when Jesus came, Jesus was a youth. And Jesus fulfilled his thing as a youth. So between the age 16 and 35, just think for about 1 minute. And if you're home, I want you to think also of a youth that is an elder at a church. Just think about it, 30 seconds. of a youth that is an elder at your church. And then when you think about it, I'm just going to ask you for a number out in your head. All right? So 1635. Think of a youth that is an elder at your church, and then we're going to build the topic off of that. What number you get, Laurie? How much you know?
I think you should go with me last.
How much do you know?
Off the top of my head, just one.
One. Okay. Martin, how much do you know?
Off the top of my head, I can think of probably two.
Two? That's well, I can't. I was gonna ask you if it's the same one that she, but you're not gonna know. So that's that's three. How much do you know, Miss Scotland?
In my church, none.
None? No, I'm talking overall. The whole of Antigua. Do you know any youth? One. So that's four. Now, on average, how much elders? Let's say, I believe each church have at least 5 elders, right? At least 5. We have 32 churches times 5. That's 160 elders. And out of 160, we're saying we can only think of 5 youth elders. Is that a problem?
Yeah, because the whole idea of youth speaks to continuity.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not have that youthful injection, then I'm going to use our real world example here. The other day, the social security guy came and said, they're going to probably recommend that retirement goes up to about 70, which was just mind blowing for me as a young person. Like, gosh, God give me 310. Now I can work till I dead. And it just goes from his discussion. There is a problem with having, more persons in the working class of the country, and so it reduces the amount of contribution coming into social security. Now, if you transpose that to a church perspective, if we do not have enough youth to replenish the senior ranked positions in the church, you tend to have the older persons working maybe not longer than they should, but carrying on a work where maybe they're working into a time or a season that they're not even au fait with anymore. They maybe, and that creates a dynamic where they are out of touch with the reality, so to speak, of what is happening, because there isn't any youthful injection, anybody to carry on the mantle as effectively as it should. So it then places churches in a position where young people just see the church as, it's dying, it's not headed in the right direction, and we can't relate to you, and there's this big gap and drop off and disinterest in continuing, because if these positions, everybody wants some level of association. When I look on the World Organization, WHO, I'm proud as ever to see a black man on it, because somebody up there look like me. When I look at my leadership, I want to be able to say the same thing. Somebody looks like me, somebody who can relate to probably what I'm going through, because it's not that easy being a youth and staying the course. And when you have somebody who rise to the top and can stay the course and can set a proper example, you can say, all right, well, if he can do it,
I can do it too.
If she can do it, I can do it too. So it helps that, inadvertent motivation, and it builds continuity in our churches.
Wonderful. Patrick, you have anything on that?
Yes and no. I think it goes hand in hand with willingness. If you don't have a church that has young people, let's say you have Miss Scotland's church. I don't know the membership, so I'm just using it as an example. Say you have Miss Scotland's church and you only have about 7 young people, and you probably you could think of 2 of them. If those 2 aren't willing, then you're left with none. You understand? So there has to be a level of willingness to give and offer yourself some level of interest. At the same point in time, some people don't know their innate ability, but you may be able to see that in a young person. But if it's not fostered, if it's not molded, if it's not shaped, then they'll just think that I'm just here to probably just sing special music and sit down. You understand? So it goes both ways.
Miss Scotland, before I ask another question, do you have anything to put on that one?
I think that they need to motivate the youth, motivate us, encourage us to that position, because they're more encourage us to be superintendent and so on. I think that the motivation and encouraging us to be elders. In my church, I think it's lack of motivation when it comes to being elders, because we don't hold back. Because how we do nominating, when you're doing office, is a paper. You write what you want to do, and with the nominating committee, my pastor, at least 2 youths has to be in the nominating committee, which I think that is good, because the youths will get to voice their opinion. But it's for the youths' willingness, as you said. Yes. Do they want to? Are we pushing them to do that? Are we just, as the older persons, are just taking the position? Because I've been doing it for so much years. I know what to do, and maybe us as youths, we're seeing them doing that. We're just, okay, then let them continue.
That's true.
Yeah.
But we are the future. They always say that. But how would we do that unless we are in the position? Unless the opportunity comes, how would we get the opportunity to be an elder without the motivation or even the training, or
Because sometimes I think when you reach 40s, when you're ready. When you start reach 40, 45, they start look and say, okay, yeah, you start look like you can become an elder now. But it sometimes I ask the question, because I know I can say it like this: I was a risk. I know I was a risk in becoming island coordinator between the age of 16 and 35. Because I know that I can say that, because I think I'm the only first island coordinator within that age range. So it was a risk that was taken on me to be the island coordinator, and I'm glad that the risk was taken, because then we can now take the opportunity to plan for our youths. And I told, I can't remember who I was talking to, in 4 years' time, I'm 35. That's it. No matter what happens after, no matter how excellent the job is, and that's where we talk about training and leadership, somebody else has to take it. By the time I reach 35, I am out of the loop when it comes to the young people. Somebody else that is younger have to take that reign. And I think we as a church, I think sometimes the process takes too long for us to become leaders. And that's what happened. Let's take example, pastors. We have, what's our youngest pastor? Probably Sean? Sean might be our youngest pastor. I think he should.
No, Otis.
Oh, Otis is our youngest pastor. Okay. So when you watch the gradual step to reach the top, sometimes it might take them when they reach 40, 50 to reach the top. So I think sometimes, my question is though, are we ready as youths to be leaders?
And that's why I said it's yes and no, right?
Because we want to be leaders. Are we ready? Are we spiritually ready? Are we are saying we want to be leaders? Emotionally ready? Are we ready?
Are we doing what needs to be done to get involved and make a difference? And that is why we can't just say those who are older than us giving us the chance. Okay,
we have to be ready.
We have to prepare ourselves. And I'm not talking about just like eldership. You said superintendent, that's a major role in church. You're the first person that people see when you come into the church.
Yes.
You're the first part of a Sabbath morning.
So you're saying whatever we get, do it to the best of our abilities.
Do it to the best of your ability. And it may seem, I don't think it's menial. There's no part in God's word that is menial. But we may think that in order for us to get to it shouldn't be aspiring for a position. It's just doing God's work. Whatever it is. It should not be only being aspiring for a position. It's just doing God's work. So even if you do not have a position, how are you helping out? How are you assisting? How are you availing yourself? How are you giving off your time? How are you volunteering to ensure that the work that is being done, you're adding value to it?
Not to cut you, but we have a comment there that some of us are willing to work in AY, but because there's a cap on the AY age, those of us who are over age just have to sit back. Now, I know many times Matthew, when you hear me say, why is from what age to what age, Matthew?
16 to 35. That is on paper.
Oh, that is on paper. What age are we working with as island coordinators?
Anyone.
0 to 120. I think a lady make 104 the other day. 0 to 120. I understand what you're saying, Messenger. I understand that. But we don't have an age, because guess what? Just like how if we had an age, we shouldn't have an age to AY. Why I'm saying that? The 16 to 35 is what we are targeting. That don't mean that the older
can be involved.
Correct, because we have a lot to learn.
And that is why I said it's not about. I think sometimes the challenge is with relinquishing a position to allow others to.
Go ahead.
Allow others to take over. And then because we probably would not have left it in, I don't want to say safe hands. So we kind of, mercy, boy, are we going to go be the, no, it's all right. No. You understand? We have a part to play.
Yes.
Will they mess up? They definitely will.
They
right?
will,
I think Ellen White spoke about it in church leadership when she was talking about the fact that no position is set for any one person, basically. And we should be able to pass the baton on.
Definitely.
Passing the baton on does not mean you have a hands-off approach. It means that you give support, guidance, molding until the person reaches the level of maturity to, do what needs to be done. And I think that is it. And that's why I said support is not an I thing. It's not an AY leader thing or head superintendent or treasurer. It's all of us. If all of us spend out the church money, you can't come to the treasurer and expect him to give you money that's not there.
Not entirely,
You're not throwing your tithe. You can't expect to have a particular amount of money left for you to be able to. You understand what I'm saying? So it's more than just, yes, the training is important. It's very important. And I believe that the troublesome child that you have, that you think, Lord, he gives so much trouble or he do this, give him something to do. You may be surprised at how well he performs at it.
And then you find what he like also.
Exactly.
Because it might be totally
how
different.
How can you foster that? Okay, he may like to play the drums. A lot of people don't like drums in church.
We have a call on the line. So let's take this caller.
Good afternoon, caller.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm just putting in this claim. I'm not a panelist.
we welcome the calls.
I am just enjoying the discussion.
Yes.
What I've noticed, though, is that this dynamic, person not relinquishing positions, is not just persons that are over 35. I've seen it with young persons that are not yet 35, but are in a position for 15, 20 years, and they just don't want to move.
Wow.
Because sometimes we think that a position belongs to us.
Right.
No, you should not be seeking out a position. The position should come to you as a leader. I heard people say, I want to be this, I want to be that, and I'm going to be that. You don't know what God plans for you. The position you have in mind may not be what God's plan is for you.
I agree.
He may not even plan for you to be leading any department in the church. And so sometimes we find ourselves going after position, going after leadership. Leadership will find you. You don't have to find leadership.
True.
Within church, leadership will find you anywhere you are, because once there are some qualities of a leader that is necessary to be an effective leader.
True.
You see the arrogance and the dismissive attitude of some who are in leadership from the top. We're talking about right from the top, not the church, right from the top of the organization. Come all the way down. You really wonder, God really called them, or am I missing something?
Not for you to decide.
They have this sort of arrogant kind of attitude within us. Leadership is not an easy situation. It's lonely at the top.
It is, yeah.
And if you're fighting or scrambling to be at the top, then something is wrong. Joseph never scrambled or fight to be at the top. Daniel never scrambled or fight to be at the top. When God ready to use you, once you avail yourself, He's going to put you exactly where He wants you to be. Sometimes it's in a supporting role where you are best suited. And may not be in the front line. Now, when you look at the AY society, I've always said, I've been AY leader, I've been part-time director. AY is the most challenging department in the church. And the reason why, because you're spanning from 16 to 35, that's about what? 19 years span? At 34, 28, you're talking about married people with children. And you're going on to 16. Some of them could even be their children coming down that way. It is difficult. Now, even the programs you're planning, who are you reaching within that age gap? Are you trying to reach the 16 to 20-year-old? Because, from the 20 to 20 to 24, going to think different from the first step.
True.
And then within that range, and then go up again next 5-6 years, they're going to be thinking differently from those sets.
Definitely.
So it's an extremely
wide,
difficult area. And you're talking about within that person would have already established a career. Lawyers, doctors, accountants, pastors. I mean, it's a whole host of professionals even along that age range. And so it's extremely difficult. Now I'm kind of disappointed two things, because sometimes young persons get opportunities to contribute insignificantly and they refuse to do so. I mean,
definitely.
When I looked at the conference session, I was rather surprised. It looked aged.
Yeah.
However, I know from my end at least two young persons refuse
to go
to be a delegate for the conference session.
But do they know the value of it?
That's
Do they know the importance of it? Do they know the
Of course
significance?
Of course they do. These are mature
Some don't, I'm just saying.
And I was rather, it wasn't that I was feeling too good to see, and it's from just one church.
Okay.
One church told them refuse. I don't know what happened to the other churches, but I told them refuse. And when I looked inside the conference session, this is where we select
our leaders.
Select our leaders.
Correct.
And it looked aged.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the same faces that I saw 4 years before that and 4 years before that. Coming from the churches. So we do have a challenge. Is it the young person are not availing themselves, or the church are not giving the young person opportunities? So there are challenges there. I don't know how we're going to overcome that. But even within that 16 to 35, there are huge challenges, because the 16-year-olds, them they're 28 and then they don't know. When you're just seasoning and trying to catch your stride and do things. So it's not easy, it's difficult. Leadership is lonely. We shouldn't be searching for it. We should let leadership find us. If we're too bent on trying to be leaders, then we really have some concerns here, because when you know somebody should be a leader, when they say, no, I don't think I can do that, you are the person that I need. That's the person I can work with.
Fair enough.
Have a good afternoon.
Thanks for calling again. Thanks for calling. And some major points came out there. Some major, and I know our leaders are listening, and it's a discussion that we will love to have with our leaders at any time. How can we improve the outlook of our young people when it comes to leadership positions? And I think that is something that we want to push, because again, we're going to find young people who are going to say no. But as you ask question, which is very vital, do they know the importance of it? I send you to what is it about? What is my role? What am I supposed to do? What is my rights? All these different stuff. Yeah. Not just send them for sending them sake to say that they want to go. To vote. Or you're going to vote. No, what? Like, or then you tell me who to vote for too. You understand what I'm saying? What is my role? And I think this is the education part of it. And I know the last time, Matthew and I think when we was here, we were talking about business meetings. Our young people have the power to vote in business meeting. But most of the time when you have business meeting, they don't come.
Because they don't know the importance of it. But how do you know? We have to provide these informational sessions on these things. So if you know a business meeting, AY leader, if you're listening, if you know a business meeting is coming up, educate your membership on the importance of these things. What is the role of this thing? A lot of the times, or the roles and functions. And I'm not saying that we're exclusive, that I am just doing this thing and you're doing that thing. But I'm saying a lot of the times that the roles and functions that we have, we're not aware of them. We're not clear on them. Or there's a level of, I don't know if I should say this, but a level of malpractice then.
True.
You understand? Oh, deacon just clean the church.
Yeah.
No, there is
so
much more.
Bodyguard, everything. That's what, if anybody come into conduct is a deacon.
I'm just saying,
there's a lot.
There's a whole lot more to what we think this role. Yes. You
pick
understand?
Up our friend
and pick up our friend.
Yeah.
No.
That's it. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say that we should try to say these things to appease young people. Oh, this is what you do. No.
Education.
We need to educate them and let them know. We think that you'll be a good fit for this one, so but this is what you're expected to do.
This is your role.
Will they make mistakes? Of course they will.
Yeah. Yes,
we're human.
Yeah.
But the reality is, we have to another thing. We have to create a sense of belonging for young people. I'm not saying that is the only thing that will keep young people in the church. I do not believe so. Every tub have to sit on their own bottom.
Nothing else short of God will keep anybody.
Exactly. You understand?
Yeah.
But the reality is that when it comes on to like things that involve youth, personally, I see that we tend to have a little, may not happen in all congregations, a little, it's young people thing.
I was just going to say that. And
you don't get the support as though if you're having a stewardship day. or if you're
Family
having
life.
community services
Family
day,
life, yeah.
or if you're having family life,
Yep.
or if even when you're having crusade, sometimes you know have a little children's story.
No.
Or something. I'm
AY
saying
department, AY
all
afternoon.
you know sometimes I'm saying
Yeah.
a crusade is going on, and sometimes the AY part is just put on pause.
Yeah, totally.
You know sometimes I'm saying? So there are things that we need to do, create a
sometimes-
level of continuity.
Sometimes crusade happens on Global Youth Day or even Week of Prayer for Youth, and they don't even get a part in the crusade. But let me just ask this question.
I don't think you should ask.
No, this is the only department. What is the age group for community service department?
There's an age group.
There's not, right?
No.
What's
I
the
think
age group
there's
for-
a youth
what's the-
arm of
what's the-
community
What's
services.
the age group for family life?
No, but
Sabbath school, Divine Hour,
The only department
Sunday
that
night
has an
worship,
age.
Wednesday night worship. There's no age group for none of these other departments. The only age group is 1635 for AY. Why? Because and now it have now become that it's for 1635. I am not coming. But all these other programs, Sunday night worship, we expect the youth to come. Wednesday night worship, we expect the youth to come. Divine, Sabbath school, we expect the youth to come. But in the afternoon now, when the youths are there doing their program now, we are not expected to
Support.
come because it's supposed to be 1635. And that is the part that I seems very.
I think no,
very
well, but that's what
thing.
the person who messaged was
Mhm.
indicating too, that there's a cap. So I don't feel as though. But again, it goes back to our planning. Look at who comes to your church. Look at who you're gearing your programs to. Yes, it falls usually within that category. But I believe that there's something for everyone.
Correct, and that is that. And I'm a person that's 45 shouldn't come to an AY program expecting to get something out of it. As in, okay, the program was planned for me. I'm coming to support the youth, and I think that's what we're missing.
Okay.
Because as Elder Henry, 16 to 35 alone don't had to plan with, because you're doing the 16 to a 20-year-old. Different from planning from 30 to 35. Now imagine if you have to start planning for the 40 to 45 and 50 to 50. It's gonna be difficult. You're coming as a support, and I think that's what we need to get more in our head, that I am coming to support the youth
And add value.
and add value. So they're talking about dating. I done married for 40 years. That's fine. Sit
Give
down
me-
and share your experience
Share
with
what
us.
you know about
Share what you know
you
about
know.
dating.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I first started, how was it? Whatever. And you might find to see the importance that you bring to AY.
Yeah.
Don't just sit back and say 1635. That's not my program.
Yeah,
I think maybe in the initial implementation of that, maybe
the age gap, the cap?
so to speak.
We didn't make that
I'm not sure how well that was communicated to those who, of times past, because to the best of my knowledge, when I started to understand youth ministry to any extent, I met the age gap, cap being
Yeah,
16 to
yeah,
35.
35, yeah.
So I'm not sure if that was communicated clearly then. However, or notwithstanding that, I think, as a church, it should not be perceived that you are no longer a part
Important.
of
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
needed
That's
for
true.
this thing to grow.
That's true.
Because, if you look at any, let me use my portfolio, sports. I mean, everybody, when you think of it, everybody knows Lara made 400.
400, yep.
Everybody
Yep.
knows that.
Yeah.
But very few know that Gail made 60 something, Sawan made 90 something, Wrigley Jacobs made 100 and something, Darren Ganga made about 10 runs after batting for almost 2 hours, 40 something ball.
Holding there, yeah.
Everybody contributed to that.
To that, yeah.
So, I mean, it might seem like, you're not getting the limelight attention anymore, and that's okay. But definitely, you are a pillar. You are a foundation
Yeah.
that those who come after must build on. We're not going to reinvent the wheel, but we can't get rid of you. And we're not seeking to do that. We're just saying, hey, look, we're
Help us to
zeroing
grow.
in on this area.
This area.
When you are outside of this area, you help to shine more light
Correct,
in the area.
correct.
So that way we can find more youths, we can assist more youths, and they may be more interested in realize, look, everybody wants my success. It's not just
yes.
me against the world kind of
Correct.
mentality. And I also wanted to add to, in keeping with some of the comments that Elder Henry mentioned, it's not so much about, okay, put it this way, from a youth perspective, even if I get to, let's say, because I made my recommendation at the conference session, so I'm sure
Yes.
my name is on record for that. But it's not so much about
Permanent
just
record.
getting there, because once I am there, then what?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, from just the eye test down there, I don't think I counted 20 young persons.
No man, you count plenty.
And that's delegates.
That's delegates.
So, and that's something that I would have also expressed to, you know, the secretary, Dr. Knowles. You know, it's just strange to see that a lot of young persons were there in relation to working the cameras, helping sharing.
Yes,
They
yes.
were quote unquote the
workhorses,
of
correct.
getting this
Correct.
program functioning.
If
well.
you remove them out of the program,
there are a lot of loopholes. And now we're still not a part, or we do not have any major numbers in the decision making. So am I good enough to make this thing work well when I'm not good enough to make a decision? The optics of it just didn't look right to me. And additionally, you know, let's just say we had more numbers of youths there, hypothetically. Then you have the situation where it got all the way down to nominating committee and there was none.
None.
So am I just there just to make up numbers? And these are the things that, strange enough, when you go to family life sessions and some of these things, you know, my senior brothers and sisters would express the principle that young people see what you do.
Involved.
Children watch. They may not can articulate it. They may not can say it well or can express the thought properly, but they see and they feel exactly what we're doing. So if no youths get onto nominating committee, one youth get onto the large committee, the bulk of us just did feel like we're taking up space. When I go back to another youth and they ask me for my experience, how was it down there? No, I have to fabricate a positive answer now. So then, am I of any significant use when I go to this thing? And you know, youth are all about, I mean, whether or not it should be is another argument altogether. But young people draw more young people, and sometimes it's all about
youths bring youths.
Perception is like it's a vibe kind of thing. So like, oh, she go over there and it was good, and think, all right, maybe we go next time around. And you know, that sort of a chain reaction. So more persons want to come. Okay, so if I go, I actually have a part in this thing with the church, and even in the local congregation, we do not have many apprenticeship sort of kind of situation in the church. So you have 5 elders, and that's just that. And then next election, they would just come, Brother Matthew, we want you to be an elder. But I've been sitting here for 10 years in the church, 20 years in the church.
30.
I know nothing about an eldership. Y'all just have me working as Sabbath school superintendent, point the thing on the projector for the screen, and you know, the peripheral kind of position. But all of a sudden, oh, you look like you can do this, go up a little higher. No, I'm flapping, trying to stay afloat. It doesn't work that way. And I think maybe that's part of the challenge that we have to try to solve as a church. How do we groom others to take from us? It's not, you know, people not in the wings trying to thief your position or anything to that effect. But if you are the treasurer, if you're the AY leader, if you're the first elder, there has to be somebody, in my estimation, who I wouldn't say, quote unquote, is of the same age group as you. And if that is the person you find, fine.
That's fine.
But there has to be someone that you can look at and say, hey, if today or tomorrow I am no longer here, I believe you have the ability to step up and take. And I think more of our positions in church should be done that way. And then I think young persons might begin to feel more a part of the church. Because that's a big part of the issue. If I don't believe this thing to be valuable in the sense that, you know, I am worth the time here, then even if you come to me to ask me to do it, you know, it's me like, no, I'm comfortable here putting the stuff on the screen. It's safe. I'm not getting in trouble. I'm not going to be out there saying anything wrong. I will stay right here.
And you'll stay there for 20
and
plus
I'll
years?
stay here
until what happened?
The TV monitor mash up. And then the church buy a next one. And I'll stay even longer. But I think these are some of the things that we have to look at. And those, you know, these things will help young people to feel more a part of and want to, you know, potentially step out into those leadership roles. And you have the flip side to it, that just, you know, young people, despite the disinterest sometimes in certain maybe structured formal things, I do believe that, you know, there are a few that we could use to influence the
start
others.
the fire burning.
Start it with somebody and help them to, you know.
I believe so too. Start the fire burning.
You may not get everybody, but at least you can use one to try to reach another.
Correct.
So involve them in everything.
Miss Scotland, you have anything to say? I know a lot of it said so far. You go so far? You have anything to say?
No.
Okay, wonderful. We're going to take a final break. We have about 20 more minutes into the program. Wow, time is flying so fast. We're going to take a final break and then we're going to come back and wrap up our program this afternoon.
Our students pursue only excellence.
Looking for a cool, serene, Christ-centered learning environment for your child? The New Bethel Academy is the place for you. We offer a holistic approach in all subject areas, extracurricular activities, and so much more. We are always accepting new students. Visit us in Liberta St. Paul on the same grounds as the New Bethel SDA Church, or call us at 460-1086. Don't delay. Come in today. Here we follow Jesus, the Master Teacher.
Crime affects all of us, the whole community, whether you're a direct victim or not. We can all help fight crime by sharing the information we have on criminal activity, even if you're not sure that the information you have will be helpful. The Crime Stoppers Hotline is a safe place where you can anonymously report crimes, criminal activity, and give tips. Crime Stoppers will never record your name or any personal information. The call center is located internationally, so there's never a chance of the operator recognizing your voice. Call 800-8477 if you see anything or if you know anything. Remember, we don't need to know who you are for you to tell us what
Hi
you know.
there, I am Monica Fleming.
And I am Delma Cameron.
Join us Monday through Thursdays from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Second Advent Radio 101.5 FM.
You can also join us live on our Second Advent Radio and SLC Adventist YouTube channels. Share the good news with your family and friends, and come,
let's celebrate together.
Wow, Sunday mornings are just not the same anymore. Be uplifted, be encouraged, and experience God's power through prayer and thanksgiving with Sister Monica Fleming, Sunday mornings at 7:30 on Second Advent Radio. Get the opportunity to call in with your prayer requests and life-changing testimonies as you experience God's power. Join us, won't you?
Streaming the everlasting gospel to the four corners of the globe. You are listening to Second Advent Radio, Christian online radio with a difference.
Do you have any burning questions? Do you want your voice to be heard? It's time to speak up. The Island Youth Department presents Speak Up, a radio program for the youth. Join us every Sunday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we discuss stimulating topics, engaging interviews, and powerful songs of praise. It's going to be dynamic, informative, and interactive. Join us on Second Advent Radio at 101.5 FM, on YouTube at Second Advent Radio, and on Facebook Live. You can't afford to miss it. It's time to speak up.
Welcome back. So as we close off this afternoon, I know our leaders are listening. I know our leaders have heard our cries when it comes to leadership and our youths in our youths around the island and leadership. We know they are listening and we know that they're going to put some things in place. But as we close, what do we have to do as youths? What do we have to do as youths to ensure that when we are called up to that leadership role, that we are prepared? What are some of the things that we need to do? So we're going to speak about that and then we're going to close. I'm going to begin with you, Ms. Scotland. What are some other things that we need to do as youth to ensure that we are ready? Because we're asking tomorrow they call a youth and say, okay, we have heard this, we have heard the cry, we want you to be this leader, we want you to be that leader. What do we have to do to make sure we're prepared for it?
We first have to be serious to the call. We ask. Now they're calling upon us. We have to be serious and spiritual. We cannot be living a double standard life. We can't Because now we're in a leadership, now we're calling us for leadership position. We can't expect to be up there leading now, and then last night we were doing something else. Because our friends are looking at that as well. So now they're calling upon us. It's time for us to be serious. We're not perfect. We're not going to get everything right one time, but at least try, you know, and we have to have at least one person in church where we can feel comfortable enough to speak to, so we can help us, guide us along the way.
Oh, excellent. Miss Patrick?
I think there should be some level of introspection. Why do I want this leadership role? You understand? What is my motivation for doing this? Is it because I just want something to be tacked onto my name to say I am the AY leader? Or do I have an actual desire to see God's work move forward? I think they should also, or we should also, seek to know our strengths and weaknesses. You may think that I want to be AY leader, but my strength is probably doing clerical work or outreach.
Or you want to be singing and...
Or you want to sing. Nothing is wrong with that.
Can't sing.
Again.
Can't knock on you.
Again, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and seek honest and positive criticism.
Yes, that is vital.
You don't operate as an island. You operate with people. So if you want people to be able to work with you, if you're given a task to do, you have to show yourself friendly too.
Correct.
You can't think that, them asked me to do it and I don't know my sister, Jonathan, think that she can come and tell me. No. Everybody in church, no matter who they are, no matter their status, relation, whatever, everybody has something to teach you. And if you view the world like that, if you view the church like that, then you'll be open and willing to learn from everybody, and you'll be able to have a better relationship with people. Last thing, if you have any fears, I know leadership is usually a big thing, so sometimes you battle with like internal fears and struggles. Am I capable? Am I good enough? Know this. If your spiritual life is in tune with God, He will give you the necessary tools, the necessary vigor, the necessary outlook that is needed to complete the task.
So if it's not in tune, but I'm striving, well, because I know you say if it's in tune. So if it's not in tune,
you better get right with God. You understand? We have to understand that whatever it is that you're doing is a ministry. You're witnessing to somebody, and being a leader is not a one-day thing. Your lifestyle is supposed to replicate that.
Correct.
So it's not something that you do from Sunday to Friday evening, and then Saturday.
Holy.
You have to. Being an Adventist is a lifestyle.
That don't mean that you're perfect, you know.
No, we're not wishing perfection.
No.
I mean, we're aspiring for.
Correct.
But it is not something that is attainable.
Clear. Correct.
But it doesn't mean that we should use that as a crutch either.
Correct.
Oh, I am sinful. No, make the necessary changes. If you know you're struggling, reach out for help. That's why you have people.
Correct.
Find somebody that you can trust. Trust is a serious thing that I think that is not fostered or there for some people. And I guess because of experiences and everything, we understand that. But you have to be able to trust somebody and be like, Brother Johnson, how can I do so and so? If Brother Johnson don't give you the answer that you seek, find somebody else, they may be able to help you. But I think that those are some of the things that we can do to get ourselves ready and having that relationship with God. And not a form of it, a real relationship with God should be able to get you through whatever task you've been asked.
So so far we have your spiritual life must improve, and you say find your...
I said introspection, find your strengths and weaknesses.
Yes, strengths and weakness, that's the one I want. Right. Okay, find your strengths and weakness. Awesome. Also, I would add one before I go to Matrin, have a support system. And we said that, have a support system. And also that support system should be honest with you. I have a support system. Sean, I have Pastor Hastings, Pastor Lee. These persons will call and say, Zach, no. They will talk real to me. And you listen, you understand, and you move forward. And it helps to it. So a support system is vital. And as Ella Henry was saying, we can't do it on our own.
True.
It's not leadership is sometimes lonely, but we have to have that support system in place to ensure that sometimes we might think that this is the right or this look like the right way, but then your support system knows that look at this again, pray about this again, look at it again, and go at it again. So a support system. So we have spiritual, we have find your strengths and weaknesses, and a support system. Matrin, give us one more.
I would say be open to learning.
Open to learning.
the mere fact that you are a youth suggests that you probably won't know everything. So I would say be open to learning, be able to take on board the information as best as you can, because the only way to succeed in any new position is to learn as much as you can, so that you have as much information to execute the best way you can. And I mean, it's the same thing with where church work is concerned and your actual career path that you want to take. You want to be a doctor. You push yourself to study the books, to beat books, to get the test right, to get 100%, so you're further up the ranks, so they send you to the better hospitals for your internship. You want to be an accountant. You know, anything you want to do in life, you approach it that way, even if it's not from a formal schooling perspective, but you're learning it online, you're going to do an extra course, you're going to do some training. You put yourself in the position to get the information. Same thing with God. You have to prioritize God the same way. So, I mean, sometimes I'd even say you'd have to go the extra mile of, you know, putting yourself out there. What do I mean by that? There's an elders workshop coming up, and you have aspirations of being an elder. You're not an elder from the church. Nothing is wrong of going and asking the first elder, hey, you know, in the future I want to be a first elder. Am I allowed to come and at least listen in on the forum? I mean, there are sessions where they have different topics where they discuss with eldership, and you know, it's something to learn. You know, even as a person, you know, I had some discussions yesterday with one of our elders, you know, and I can already see, you know, the whole matter of divorce and rebaptism and stuff like that. They're varying views. And I'd love to be at one of these sessions just to hear and to understand what the church position really is. I mean, I have my own established views on it, and I've heard some other views, but, you know, to have a concrete thing where I can say, you know what, this is my refined understanding. You know, I'd love to be in one of these sessions so I can really get it with what the church is saying. So, you know, sometimes you have to put yourself out there. You may come across to your colleagues a little bit, you know, oh yeah, I always want, you know, something. I mean, if it was your personal life or anything else, you would do the same. I think you should give God the same equal intentional attention. So to get that information, and learning is never a bad thing. The more you learn, the better you should be able to execute.
Before we give our wrapping, our last words, so we have so far the 4 points: spirituality, know your strengths and weaknesses, have a support system, and open to learning. That's our 4 points that we're going to leave you with today. My last question: is it okay? I know we're saying that we're asking the church to create leadership roles for young people. Is it okay for me as a youth to go to my pastor and say, Pastor, I'm interested in becoming or being a part of this department? Is that an okay move to do?
Yes.
If it's not, then the church has a problem.
Okay, wonderful.
So I believe every pastor would love it
if
the youth come,
especially
if you're within that youthful bracket where you come as a 17-year-old and say, Pastor, I want to be an elder one day, or I want to be a pastor one day. I believe they would just love that and welcome that, because now you have something to work with rather than trying to extract something from, you know, just guessing. That person is availing themselves. Say, hey, look, I want to do this.
I want to do this. So we are saying, young people, if you're in a department, if you're feeling free, just have a discussion with your pastor.
And I also want to say to young people, do not become complacent. You're going to outgrow responsibility. You cannot be 16 and be a Sabbath school superintendent and still want to be Sabbath school superintendent at 30. No, we expect you to grow. You will outgrow that responsibility, and we anticipate you to outgrow it so that we can place you in other positions, and the other 16-year-old behind you can take that one up. So over a period of time, you know, and I'll say this as well, probably my final comment.
So give us your final comment.
Young people, you have to train those behind of you too.
Training.
It's not just for the older persons to train. And I can give an example with myself. I've been placed to help with the technical aspect of the church. and our crusade is going on. And most persons, if you know anything about me, I work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
I have not been able to attend the crusade at the start to be there on time. And the technical team, 3 younger persons than myself, they've been able to carry the
every single night.
Well, and I commend them. And maybe if I didn't give them, if I forgot them, people who can give shout out to the tech team that works with the crusade, I just shout them out. You guys have been doing an excellent job. Sometimes to the sacrificing of the actual schoolwork in college. And I mean, they've been doing a brilliant job. So even as a young person, like I said, you have to outgrow the position. They give you, you're good at the computer stuff, train somebody. So when you're not there, they can do it. And eventually you can go and do something else in the church.
And that's how the church grows.
And that's
how the church grow together.
And that's how the church gets stronger. Because we're only as strong as our weakest link.
Correct. Miss Scotland, your final parting words?
So my final parting words for our youth, I am thinking that we should take the opportunity for leadership position. We should take it seriously and look at it as a good thing. We are the future. And for our leaders and our golden AY members, we are looking forward for your support. And just being there at the AY programs and, encouraging us, a good word at the end, it goes a long way.
Excellent. Patrick?
Relationship matters. Get to know your older folks. Your golden agers.
No more generation
and golden agers, get to know your young people. The Bible tells us that there's nothing new under the sun. So some of the same challenges that you may have faced, they may just have another face to them. But relationship matters. Don't go with a preset mindset. And if you go with an open mind, then you should be able to achieve great things.
All right, wonderful. So we're here. I hope last week we delete those 10 songs. Did you delete 10 songs on your phone, Miss Patrick? Did you delete Matwin? Did you delete Scotland? I mean, I wasn't listening last week.
I wouldn't need to delete because I don't keep music on my phone.
Okay, good. Yeah, we were doing music last week and we put a challenge out to all the youth to delete at least 10 songs that is negatively impact.
I don't have any.
Okay, good. You don't have any songs here. You don't have the songs here. Oh, my wonderful AY leaders. Oh, my. So, yeah, and today we just want to live with you. Build your spiritual life. Know your strengths and weaknesses. Have support systems and open to learning. As we do at the end of each program, we say speak up on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Speak up!
Thank you for joining us, the Island Youth, for another episode of Speak Up. Join us next week for another interactive and empowering program. If you may have any questions or concerns, kindly feel free to contact us via WhatsApp at 268-786-10